Another night, another wave of strikes. This is the story of Ukraine. Last night, they faced a fresh wave of Russian attacks. Ukrainian capital Kyiv came under intense drone and missile fire. Multiple districts reported blasts. High-rise buildings were damaged. Fires broke out in several neighborhoods and dozens of people were rescued from smoke-filled blocks. And it wasn't just Kyiv. Another Ukrainian city also reported a drone strike. In response, they hit back. Kyiv launched its own strikes deep inside Russia. The Ukrainians hit a ship, an oil depot, and residential buildings. So both sides are now assessing the damage as the cycle of violence continues. Here's a report.
A major Russian assault hit Kyiv overnight. Officials say drones and missiles targeted the capital and several regions. It triggered fires, injuries, and widespread damage, and for Kyiv, the impact was visible across almost every district. Ukrainian authorities say around 430 drones and 18 missiles were used in the attack. President Volodymyr Zelensky called it a calculated strike on civilians and infrastructure. At least 4 people have been reportedly killed. Nearly dozens more were injured. The strikes began after midnight on Friday. Sirens sounded across the capital. Moments later, explosions appeared over central Kyiv. Gunfire lit up the sky. Fires spread in high-rise blocks. Windows were blown out. Residents were escorted out by firefighters as emergency crews moved rapidly through neighborhoods. More than 40 people were rescued from damaged buildings. By morning, debris covered courtyards, pavements, and roads.
My first thought was, if only no one had died. House can be rebuilt, but people and animals matter most.
Further south, another strike hit Odesa. A Russian drone damaged an energy facility and triggered a fire. One person was injured. Nearby homes were affected. In response, Ukraine launched its own strike on Russia. A Ukrainian drone hit the Russian Black Sea port of Novorossiysk. Local authorities said a docked ship, an oil depot, and several apartment buildings were damaged. 3 crew members and 1 resident were reportedly injured. A state of emergency was declared, and shelters were opened for displaced residents. The latest attacks are part of a larger pattern. Both sides have been stepping up long-range attacks on each other for weeks now. Russia has intensified strikes on Ukraine's energy network, rail systems, and residential districts. Ukraine has also increased its own long-range drone operations. Recent targets included refineries, oil depots, and logistics points deep inside Russia. Meanwhile, the fighting has also intensified on the Eastern Front. Russian troops have pushed further into Donetsk and Luhansk, while a ceasefire is nowhere in sight. Kyiv's allies have been pressurizing Moscow to come to the negotiating table. However, Russia has reportedly demanded that Ukraine must surrender more territory in the east if the war needs to end. Kyiv has said it would not accept those terms. So, for now, this cycle of violence continues. Ukraine is facing a new wave of attacks every few days, and each strike shows how the conflict is widening, deepening, and moving further away from any immediate resolution.
Want the facts?
The latest developments?
News that gets straight to the point.
Well, we've got all 3 just for you. This is Firstpost Live, a brand new show, your window into what really matters.
Don't miss it.